How
Can
are
you
you,
hear me
mate?
now? I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'm
How are
good.
you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah, sorry about that. One of those weeks.
I get
It's a
it.
good job. We have our, well, I've changed it like twice only this week, but anyway, yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. I tell you what, these airlines over here take the piss. I don't know if it's like that over there, but so for anybody listening, Gabby's dad was ill in Romania. He's all right now, but was took it. One thing, it's amazing. He went to a state-run hospital. He went there about 8 o'clock. He had an MRI scan, an X-ray by 11, and was on the operating table by 1 o'clock in the morning. Unbelievable.
Nice. Nice.
Which you'd have never got over here. But trying to get a flight, I'm sure they do it over there. Trying to get a flight advertised at whatever price. For the time you actually get to book, no, this flight's not available anymore. Just
Yeah.
absolute piss take, you know. And I'm sure there's an element of certain routes. They know they're kind of routes that people need to take short notice quick. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, Wednesday, which we normally record this on, I had to take Abby to London to go and fly out, but all is good now. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, I'm glad her
what's been
dad's
up?
okay. That's good.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, I ended up having a twisted bow, which yeah,
That's
not
messy.
good. But yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's all good now. So I'm home alone now for 3 weeks because Gabby was due to fly out to Romania on the 11th of May anyway.
So she just
So she's just
went
going to
early.
stay there. Yeah, and she can work out over there and stuff. So she's took a laptop, and so she's going to carry on working out there while she does it. So yeah, all good. But yeah, I'm home alone. So apart from the animals to look after and the dogs to walk, I'm taking the time to work my ass off with nothing else to do.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's always good.
yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to going and see
Watch
them.
porn with the sound on. There's nobody home.
Well, yeah. Well, that some of that might have to happen because 3 weeks without Gabby being here is a stretch. Let's just say it like that. But yeah,
I'll mail you a
um,
sex doll from China. I'll get you one.
she got wolf
I'll call the
whistled.
company.
She got
She got
well,
what?
yeah, I can. She got wolf whistled in Bucharest yesterday. She
What
said
does that mean?
wolf whistled. You don't know what that is? I was like, typically men whistling at a good-looking woman.
Oh, okay. They call it
Never heard.
catcalling here.
Oh, really? How weird, cultural difference. But yeah, we call it wolf whistling, which kind of, yeah, I was thinking about this. Like in the UK, it's like frowned upon now, and like, oh, you're not respect. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit old school, but I get it if it's a younger girl. It's like Gabby said, it didn't bother me at all. I took it as a compliment. But hitting 50, and I'm confident enough to not let it bother me. Maybe I don't get it because I'm a bloke, but to me, yeah, it's kind of as long as that's all it is, and not guys hassling or whatever. I don't get how that could be construed as negative. If I was whatever the reverse of it is, if I was ever, not that it would ever happen, but if I was ever wolf whistled by a woman, yeah, well, it wouldn't happen, but I'd take it as a
I think a
compliment.
lot of women are scared by it. It's like I don't know what these men want to do, it's
Yeah,
I think there was a time where it may have led to some type of harassment or even possible like a assault. But
yeah,
like,
I get that, man. I mean, over here they had some undercover police women jogging in London. This was like last month, a couple of months ago, and there was a news report on it. So maybe it's because I'm a bloke. The more all the time I've been with Gabby, I've learned more how much difference it is, and I don't know why it hasn't come out in other relationships I've had in the past. But maybe because it's my longest relationship, and we got to talk more and whatever. But it's like the very first thing Gabby will do when she gets into a car is lock the doors. Wherever we're going, you could just be going down the street. It's a natural reaction. Oh, how's the pipe, by the way? I need to get one of them.
great, it's great.
Um, she'll lock the doors. Natural reaction, even if I'm in the car.
Yeah,
And that's just something I know you've got a fancy car that probably locks the doors automatically, but mine doesn't have that at the minute. And it's not something I ever think of. I can't think. I think there's only one time I was in a very dodgy area in Birmingham and I locked the doors. literally one time in my life. It's not something you think about. Whereas, so I think there's something
But where
a
she
big
comes
difference.
from, that's a real thing, right?
Not, not,
Like
not
people.
really. You know what? She says she feels that the irony is that she feels far safer. She said when she was there last time, whenever it go, she would not. I'm not talking about like obviously everywhere
Oh,
has dodgy areas, but in Bucharest itself, she says she feels more safe walking at night in Bucharest than ever she would in a big city in the UK.
hmm,
In fact, I was speaking to her when she was out with friends, and she walked back to the where she could get an Uber or whatever. Like she wouldn't even get she would not get an Uber, a taxi at night in the UK on her own as a woman. So it's
I see.
weird that she actually feels safer in Bucharest than here. But yeah, anyway, that went off on a tangent. But so I felt compelled to make her laugh, and I sent her an image generated by ChatGPT that said "hands off, she's my girl," and then I signed it and I said print that off and put it on your back. But then I thought, well, that's no good because it's in English, so I had to do a Romanian version.
That's useless. That's
So
funny.
yeah, anyway, but so I'm just using the time. But you know what I was thinking this morning? I'm like, this AI stuff, man. And I know it's down to us to regulate ourselves what we do with it. But so we didn't well, obviously it's been like 10 days since we did this. So but I hit like Friday last week thinking I'm feeling overwhelmed, man.
Hmm.
Like proper I have not enough hours in the day and I don't know what to do next. And you know what I'm like with to-do lists and looking this and that. But I still hit it. I hit this thing where I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do next. I got that
Yep.
many things to do. And actually, in a weird way, because I use AI so much now, in a weird way, that's actually creating me more good ideas and good things to do than before
Hmm.
we had it. Do you get that?
Yep. Yeah, that's a big problem. It's like that, there was a time when you had to allocate money to the idea
Yeah.
and
And now all you've
people,
got to do is dedicate some typing or speaking.
right? And that changes everything, right? Because now it's almost too easy and you have too many opportunities and you don't know and you still don't know which one's going to work. Before you had to make bets on them. Now it's like I don't know where to start, what to do first, what to do last. It's kind of it is. I feel that same sense of overwhelm. I'm like I feel a little bit crippled by my own tools. Like I don't know. I don't know
But
what
it's the type of
there's
people
so
we
much.
are as well. It's the type of people we are. It is that to a degree. We're using these tools. Look, this is not a bad thing that we're creative. We've got so many good ideas, or what we think could be good ideas. So that's kind of like the people we are to a degree. But I'm glad you feel the same. So like, how do we regulate that? It's like I hit Thursday, Friday, and I don't get stressed, right? Yeah, unless it's like I can't think the last time I properly got stressed. I don't get stressed. I just felt overwhelmed. I said to my son while we were waiting for his pigeons to come back on Saturday morning, which was one of my little few hours of whatever, and I said, your dad's feeling as stressed as he'll feel because I'm overwhelmed. It's like that's not like you. And then I broke it down at the weekend, and I should have had I was planning to have a productive time. Didn't happen. Just didn't happen. But did some thinking, and I hit Sunday morning. I thought, you know what? Why? What? I've got. There's two sides to it, isn't there? For me, there's two sides to it. Now there is the business side, keeping the growth going, bringing the money in, and what have you. And then my other side now is what my members or customers want. So it's okay me thinking I've got this list of things that I want to put into Real Entrepreneur or launch a software or whatever. So, I thought, screw it. I have a Tuesday call with all of my top members. I'm just going to ask them. So
Sure.
I messaged into the groups and I said, hey, I could do with as many of you being on Tuesday live as possible. And so I just asked them. And I asked them and I structured it in a way of, look, business side is, and then what you guys want. And the feedback was really great because of how this week's played out. I haven't acted on the feedback as much as I would want, but it'll happen. And yeah, it's like, so I just asked them, and and it was really very good in that as an exercise. Now, it still doesn't mean in a weird way that feedback's created me more things to do, but it's good because I know what those people that are paying members that want. And as well, and then like I gave a little bit of an idea about some of the stuff coming up, and then some of the feedback from that helped me prioritize that stuff. So yeah, and that's what I ended up doing. So then I hit Monday morning thinking, wow, okay, these two things have got to happen this week. Everything else is up for discussion. So that's how I did it. But definitely the tools we're using now, because I say it to my members, if I give you a tool, ask the question, is this going to help me and my business now? If the answer's it's not going to help me this week, bookmark it and come back to it, because I'm very well, like it's in the business model I'm running, there's a fine line between overwhelming people and not giving enough value.
Mm-hmm.
And prefer to be the guy that gives people too much, but tells them with caveat, hey, you don't have to use this stuff now,
Right.
So yeah, I found myself forgetting AI apps or GPTs that I've got. I think, fuck, how have I forgot that? It's a really good thing, and then you get into, I'm sure you've done this in a different way. Like, so I I've been using this new RSS feeder software on the Mac for a few months. So every day I literally just spend 2 minutes browsing through the list. Gives ideas for what's happening in tech markets, all that stuff, but also gives me stuff to think about and whatever. So, and then I thought, I want to put my take on it. So I just wrote this GPT just for myself that said, hey, summarize this article for me to redistribute to my own people and give me an option of doing a comment about it based on my input about my feelings on it, to then just link to the article. And I thought, actually, this is a really good thing for people. So I just put it out to my people and they love it. Yeah. So anyway, and that was born out of actually that kind of my take thing on it was actually born out of a 60 Minutes program. So I didn't realize that that CBS 60 Minutes, the main 60-minute programs, I think it goes out on a Sunday. Does it still? Is it still a Sunday that it goes out on in the US? I remember years ago, I used to watch it back in the day. I didn't realize they do other short pieces that are not necessarily the main feature. I didn't realize that until I started following them. And they did this 21-minute feature on the global racing pigeon sport.
Oh, wow.
CBS 60 Minutes.
That's cool. Wow.
So their headline was, obviously it's got to be an attention grabbing thing, whatever. Their headline was the pigeon mafia and it was the darker side of the sport.
Of course.
And they featured the fact that there are organized criminal gangs, and they featured the CCTV of these gangs breaking into really high-end establishments and stealing stock. Like the biggest guy here in the UK, a guy called Mark Gilbert, who's like won everything in the UK you can, bearing in mind birds have got to fly over the fucking English Channel compared to everybody else in Europe. Probably the most successful guy we've ever had in modern times. A few years ago, and he lives in Windsor. It's really well sorted lofts. He had 100 grand's worth of stock stolen overnight. One, and then there's been some really big, high profile thefts, all stolen to order.
Yeah.
It's huge. So they led with that anyway. But then what they did is they, I didn't even realize that they were doing this stuff. They featured a really high profile first hybrid auction that there's the Christie's auctioneering site of the pigeon world is a company called Pippa, and they do like 40 odd million a year in sales, and they had their first hybrid in room and live auction ever, and CBS were there covering that. And the race I go to in Portugal in the Algarve every October, they were there covering that. So this is some work's been put into this thing. And it was an amazing, but what was really interesting is the comments on the clips they put out on their main Facebook page. I didn't realize the sport was like this. It was really good for the sport. But let me come back to what I was saying. So I as someone that's been in it 35 years, I thought, you know what, I want to build something on that and give my take on it and what have you. And that's how this whole thing came about. But yeah, it was pretty impressive to see CBS covering the sport.
That's great.
Great publicity. Yeah. But anyway, what's been happening with you? Let me stop talking.
I've been setting up a multi-camera podcast setup.
Oh, you mentioned, yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, it's all set up. So I I have a camera cart. It's like just a simple utility cart, has two light stand mounts on it for cameras, and then it has a monitor on it. Has power, everything, kind of wherever you want to go, plug it in. So I set my two cameras up on it, so one faces this way, one faces this way. They each fire onto the guest, or the guest, and then the host, and then using AI, I actually split up I took the two like a feed from each camera, and stuck the people side by side and created like a fake ceiling around, like a fake, thing, so it looks like we're actually in the same room, but we're actually much further apart because I don't have a third camera for a wide shot. So I spent way too much time on it because there's something for OBS called Advanced Scene Switcher. It's a plugin, and it allows you to switch cameras based on hot microphone. And so it does all the switching for you. You can sit there, have a conversation, and when I'm talking, it's on me. When you're talking, it's on you. And if we're both talking or neither of us is talking, it shows both of us. And it just does it in real time. And it does it based on a bunch of other things too, but I just wanted it based on hot mic. But it was really a challenge to set up. I thought it was going to be easy, but it wasn't. It was like a lot of, if this is at this level and
this
what's that?
Advanced Scene Switcher was a problem.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Not a problem, just a lot of trial and error. A lot of, this didn't work, and if you adjust anything later, it becomes an issue. And so, you have to make sure your gains are exactly where you want them and everything's kind of set up right. And then, okay, this is how it's got to be locked in. Because it's like, if the host volume is above 81% and the guest volume is below this, it's on the host. If it's, and it's a lot of, oh shit, while I'm over here, if I get loud, it comes through the other mic. And so, there's a lot of, now I got to adjust for that. But I think I have it. And next week I have a couple comics coming for some test runs. We have Perplexity put a show docket together for me based on a bunch of criteria. I've done a couple trial runs of the show docket. I'm pretty happy with it. It cost about 1,000 credits to do. I think the last one cost me 1,400 credits to do. But it finds good stuff to talk about. And then so yeah, I'm gonna try it out, see what comes out of it. I've done like $500 in Facebook in the last 28 days. And so I'm really kind of looking at, okay, how do I want to get a lot more clips up on Facebook. And I've also discovered on my old YouTube channel, I knew about this, but I wasn't doing it religiously. And I flipped to doing it religiously because I lose a lot of subscribers on YouTube, like a
Mm.
thousand a month. Same with Instagram. And YouTube has something similar to what the trial reels are on Instagram, which is when you publish a new video. So I publish so many shorts, right? And YouTube pings every subscriber to tell them, hey, Brad Goss uploaded a new short, and if I'm doing that
Yeah.
10 times a day, it's going to drive you nuts. And so I found a way to turn that off. You have to do it on every video as you publish it. But
Mm.
there's a checkbox hidden under the show more that says notify subscribers and publish to my feed. I uncheck that because I only want these videos to go out to new people. If you want to
Yeah.
go down the rabbit hole and watch my videos, you can, but I don't want to create an environment where you're getting 10 notifications a day because I'm spamming shorts, right? So
Yeah.
I removed that. And since then, I scheduled like 14 vids this week. And since then, I've been watching my subscriber count only go up. It doesn't drop anymore. It only goes up. And I can't tell you, like, I've lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers doing it this way. And I'm like, all I had to do was check a fucking box. So I've been doing
Wow.
that. And then I, I, I collect old joke books. Not like I'm not like a book collector. Like, ooh, I keep first editions, and it's like I just want to read them. I want to see what they are. But this
Mhm.
came in from. You're gonna love this. This came in from eBay this week. This is Playboy's party jokes.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now this is like a little pocket paperback, but look at the price tag on this thing.
Wow.
75
Wow.
cents. This is from. I'll tell you
Wow.
when this is. This is from, and this is back when like Playboy was at its peak, right? People were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like they thought it was cool, and like nobody looked. This is from 1965,
Wow.
and it's falling apart. And whoever owned it before me was like bracketing, the jokes and like picking the ones that they liked the best, and like pages are falling out of it, like it's falling apart. But I wanted to go through it because there's a lot of jokes from the 60s and 70s, and you wouldn't believe how much they mirror today.
Really?
Like they talk about Iran, they talk about Israel versus Palestine, they talk about all this Middle East stuff that's going on again now that was happening back then, racial stuff. There's a lot of parallels, which is kind of
Wow.
interesting. So I really like it. What else is going on with me? I did a show on Friday. I headlined a show in Toronto on Friday. Horrible turnout. Horrible
Really?
turnout. Like 12 people came. Which is not, you know
Well,
what? That's comedy. You sometimes you do a show for six people,
no,
and sometimes
I
you
get
do
that, but for context, like, what would you have expected if it was good? Like, how many
um
people?
probably 60 to 70.
Oh, wow.
That's how
Okay.
many
Yeah.
that it's a small club, but that's how many they can hold. But it's that's how the game works. So sometimes you sell out, sometimes you don't. It often has nothing to do with you. I mean, it does have
Mm.
something to do with you. If I was Dave Chappelle, I would sell out. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, of
like,
course. Yeah.
I do shows in Toronto all the time, so I'm not special there. I'm just like a
No.
regular act there. And so it's a weird thing. Like I've headlined multiple times this year and sold out. I've opened multiple times this year and sold out, and I've opened multiple times this year to small rooms. It's just how it works. It could be weather, it could be what else is going on in the city,
I was gonna
lots of
say, what
things.
was the weather like Friday, and what else was
It
going on?
was it was
Because
pretty good. It was
do
pretty good
you get
weather.
do you get the thing of end of the month busyness over there like we do? Like, so in town, if I only ever really go into town late night when I'm coming back from playing poker, but I'll always know on a Friday night when I'm coming back at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, it's going to be busy as hell that last Friday, Saturday night of the month because it's payday.
Not really. Um,
No, I don't get
it's
it either
busy
because
here.
but it's not.
It's busy here all the time.
It's
It's
different in
always
Toronto.
busy here.
Yeah, Toronto
Yeah.
is different, isn't it? Like, I
Yeah.
guess there's a
Yeah.
difference. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you couldn't say that about London. It's just been busy all the time, I guess. But,
We're a very like international entrepreneurial type of place. So there's,
mm.
there's always busy. It's always something, you know?
Did I tell you the Ontario are advertising in the UK for the place to be for business and tech
Yeah, we've been seeing there's been a lot of
on TV here, like
yeah,
literally
yeah.
Sky TV. The
Yeah.
adverts are
They're
rolling.
doing it in the US, they're doing it everywhere. Our the premier of Ontario is under a lot of fire for the money he's spending on this stuff. Um, he's conservative, and a lot of people are like, oh, you're blowing the taxpayers' money, but it's like, okay, he's trying to get companies to move here. That's a big deal. Like that, let him cook,
Mm.
as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great advert. I've seen it quite a few times.
yeah,
It was on Sky News, which I have on in the background, and
yeah,
they were hitting it hard.
yeah. We have a lot
That
here, right? So it's easy for
Yeah,
companies
yeah.
to move here, and that's why they're pushing it. Canada's doing a lot right now. Like we're just opened up an international, or we're opening up an international defense bank, and it's like and all the cities in Canada are trying to figure out who's going to get it because the prime minister announced it this week. It's a multinational defense bank, so it's going to be like 3,600 jobs, and it's just a bank that loans money to other countries that want to buy weapons. And then I
Okay.
guess
Wow.
we're giving them preferred rates, and then our I guess as part of that, we take part in the procurement, so we get to bid on the defense contracts and the
Mhm.
work. So do you know anything? I don't know. Do you know anything about our prime minister? He was the governor of the Bank of England.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. He's
he's very finance focused, which is
how's he
interesting to
gone
see.
down in Canada? I mean, he was well respected over here when he was
People
Bank
like
of
him.
England.
Yeah, people like him. I mean, he took over for Justin Trudeau, and people were hating on him, and so when he took over, he changed. The Liberals were going to lose, and then he took over, and they ended up winning again because of him. I don't know. He's kind of gotten to a place where he he was being criticized for how he was managing with Trump, and then he just kind of got to a place where he was like, all right, fuck this guy. He barely even mentions Trump, and he's just been going around the world trying to like make Canada the place to do business. We have a lot to sell. We have a lot of
Yeah, it makes
critical
sense, man.
infrastructure to sell.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I don't know where I sit politically. I'm a swing voter. People hate people like me. I will swing my vote I don't care what party you're with. I want to
Well,
see what you
it's,
got, and if I like your
it's,
plan, I'll vote for you.
that's
I'm
called
I
logic and
Yeah,
objective. That's
people don't like it. They really don't like it when you tell them that. But because we're the people they all pander to, right? Because they're like, okay, we got our hardcore base. They're not
mm,
going to change their vote. It's it's guys like me that are like, okay, what do what's on deck?
what's on
What are we
offer.
doing?
Yeah.
And I didn't vote for Carney. I didn't, because I didn't know. I mean,
Hmm.
but I also felt like it wasn't going to be the worst thing if he won. Whereas with Trudeau, I would have been like, oh, fuck, if this guy wins, we're going to be in big trouble.
Hmm.
The last, like, we were bringing in close to 1 million people a year in immigration. And last year we lost 150,000 people. and that's stabilized housing. That's really kind of made it a little bit easier for the people who just got here, and made it easier for the people. Not, I wouldn't say made it easier for the people who've been here a long time, because if you have a house, your house went down in value a little bit, and that makes people upset. I'm not that worried about it, but um,
It's
I
only
look at
relevant
it
if you're
as like,
selling.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So it's been interesting to watch how like all these people are playing the game, and everybody has to deal with Trump, right, one way or another. And
Did you
so,
see our King Charles in Trumpland this week?
yeah, I did see that.
Mm. Did you happen to see his speech to Congress?
I only saw clips of it.
I'm not a royalist, right? I think I'm not a royalist, but I have a lot of time for King Charles. I think he's a class act, and I actually did watch the full speech, and I thought it was a masterclass in probably the only guy that could get away with some of the stuff he said with Trump without Trump falling out properly with him. But again, yeah,
Trump's
but
on
yeah,
his
it was.
nuts, man. Trump loves him some King
Mm,
Charles. For some
yeah,
reason,
yeah,
he is
yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's very few people he bows to, and that's one of them. It's him and
Well,
Netanyahu.
well, I think it's suggested that he'd quite like to be king himself, and that's the reason he loved him so much. But it seemed to go down very well. But not that I'm into. Yeah, but I have a lot of time for Charles. I think some of the stuff he's been talking about with the climate and what have you for years. He was talking about climate change back in the 70s and 80s before it was even a fucking thing to talk about. But yeah, it was interesting watching his speech, and yeah, it was an interesting thing. Just going back to your podcast splits, did you ever look into the road thing, the road
Oh yeah,
video?
I set it up for a buddy of mine who has a podcast.
Is
I've
it
used
any
it. I've
good?
set it all up. What's
Because I
that?
listened to, is it any good? Because I listened to what you've just been telling me, and I haven't got the patience for that stuff. Because I do want to start doing some guest stuff eventually,
You have
but
to
I
set
haven't
the
got the.
same. It's the same kind of parameters on the road, but and I've set that one up. It's easier to set up, because it has everything built into the hardware, so it's a little bit more.
So is it
Uh,
is it plug and play or not?
it no, but it's close. It's as close as you'll get to plug and play. There is some. You do have to connect your laptop to it and kind of go through the parameters a little bit, and
Mm.
there is some logic, but it's not as complex as the OBS setup. But it's the reason I don't like it, and this is like, it's kind of dumb, but it doesn't record in 4K, and I don't believe. I'm not a fan of recording in less than 4K. If I'm spending money on cameras that can record in 4K or 6K,
Mm.
then I want my system to work in 4K, because I think, just like there was a time where SD videos were being pushed on YouTube and they're no longer. I think there's going to be a time where 1080p videos are not going to be pushed as hard, and they're going to be pushing the 4K videos harder, because the newer displays look better with them.
Mm. I would imagine
So,
they're going to do it. They're surely going to do a 4K version of it soon, or at some point. You would hope.
it's hard to do. Black Magic has
Oh,
one
is
that
it?
does 4K, but it's hard to do because the amount of bit rate required to record
Wow.
multiple streams at the same time is very hefty. A lot of people, what a lot of the time they do is they record, and the other thing is their software only works with Blackmagic, so they create an XML file at the end that technically has all the camera switching, and you can go and change it if you want. And what that allows you to do is you could actually record 4K on your cameras and then replace the HD clips with the 4K clips, and then it just works in 4K instantly if you have Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve editing software. But I'm a
Wow.
Final Cut user, so not that that's a big deal, but like, I don't know, I just don't want to buy this equipment and then have to do all this extra work. So there is a
Hmm.
Blackmagic one, but it's way more expensive, and so
Oh, I can imagine.
that's
Yeah.
why I went with OBS, because it works in 4K, and it
Mm.
records. OBS records in ProRes, uncompressed Apple ProRes.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll
Cool.
let you know after I do my first
Yeah,
proper,
yeah, yeah. I'd like to see
podcast
that.
setup. I'm not even calling it a podcast. It's more just like a topical show with two comedians, you know, and so it'll be like, I don't want it to be an interview. I don't want it to be, you know, I want it to be more kind of free
Yeah,
flowing, but
yeah.
here's some topics we're going to hit along the way.
Mm.
So we'll see. The first one's with my buddy, Cringe Kev, they call him, and he's, he's good. He's a funny guy. He's a young guy, just got married to a Filipino, and he's got he's got a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
I
So it
can
should be fun.
imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting regarding your Facebook because since we recorded the last one, your that income's doubled. You were on about $200 or something before. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's all relative on the percentages. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Have you ever looked into Reddit
Yeah.
for traffic?
I
So
have. I've done ads on Reddit. I've done all kinds of. Reddit has been one of the places where I've, you know, Baby Mute blew up on Reddit. You know, I've had
yeah,
some good success there, but I've also had a lot of failures there.
because
Ads, particularly, I can't run ads there. They
uh,
consider my stuff to be too whatever.
I've been looking at Reddit. I got some new software coming out, AI related software, and I'm just seeing a lot of people saying how like the ad business is surging and people's results are doing well. But yeah, it's
Okay.
same issue you have for your stuff. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna.
I've found Reddit ads to be too difficult. And the Reddit community in particular hates ads, and they hate anything that appears to be promotional. And if they smell 1% of this is promotional, they will destroy you in the comments. And I don't know. It's not really, it hasn't really been, you know, a place for me. I wish it
Uh,
was because I love Reddit, but
yeah, I just wondered if you're doing. I've been seeing a lot of talk about how Reddit is a new place to seriously look at for ads. So yeah.
what
Huh.
else have I been doing? So yeah, I set up that camera stuff. What else can I tell you? That's about it. Just you know, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm dealing with a bit of that overwhelm, and I'm not. That's not usually me. I'm really good at kind of
It
having a
isn't.
direction and
It
where
isn't
I'm going to
me.
go. And yeah,
Fucking not me at all. You know, I might have stuff on my list, but I don't feel overwhelmed. But it's interesting that we're not like that. I don't get overwhelmed normally, but I just hit this thing of like, oh, the list I've got is of stuff to do, and yeah, you can prioritize to a certain degree, but I personally hit a list of 20 things where they're all as important or got the potential, and you think, well, you just got to pick a couple and focus on them first. But it's definitely because using AI is giving you more ideas. Like I was in the shower this morning, I thought of a great idea. I couldn't remember the thing before the time I got out. Couldn't remember
yeah,
it. So you're constantly thinking of, oh, I could do that, or yeah. So in a weird way, but then that's just how to man. You just got to figure out how to manage it. It's as simple as that. And you know, I mean, so I'm trying to just put ideas in my notes, and they don't even hit the project management or the task list. They just are notes, and then you know, quite often you'll come back to them in a month, and something's changed anyway, and it's irrelevant, or it's still a good idea, whatever. So yeah, yeah, I think both of us are good at managing stuff generally in that. But it's interesting that we both have a bit of that. I mean, you know, I've cracked it to a degree this week because of what I did, and yeah, I mean, this week's been a little bit behind just because of life getting in the way. But I'm back on track with knowing what I got to get done and when. It's just I've noticed, I know you don't use it, but I've noticed ChatGPT is not as suggestive as it used to be. So you'd ask it to do a task, and then a couple of months ago, it was like, oh, I could do this for you, I could do that for you. It's not as aggressive with that now,
mm,
which is good. What it does do is it says, oh, I could turn this into that. Let me know if you want. But it's not, it, yeah, it's not it's something's changed in 5.5, which I like better. But I
Did you
have
hear
to
they're
say
getting
it,
sued for like $1 billion by a Canadian group?
for what?
There was a guy who was planning a shooting. He killed a bunch of people in BC and Tumbler Ridge, and he was planning the attack on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT flagged him, and a safety team who worked for ChatGPT saw what he was doing and alerted the higher ups at ChatGPT and said, we banned his account, but we think you should contact the authorities. And they decided not to because they don't want to be seen as ratting out their customers, right? They don't want to be seen as this snitch company. And so the guy created a new account and started planning again, and it helped him plan it. And they didn't catch it, and he ended up killing a bunch of people. And so now they've found all this information. So the lawyers have got involved and they're suing for over $1 billion because they're saying that they're liable in this event,
Wow.
and it doesn't look good for them. Like it
Wow.
looks really bad because there's all these layers, right? Where it's like, okay, well, if you just had AI managing it and they banned his account and nobody got notified, that's one thing. But someone, a human being on a safety team, took this information to a manager and said, we need to contact the authorities. And that manager said, yeah, leave it with me, and didn't do anything because they know they don't want to do that. Now you're in big trouble because something
That's
happened.
bad. That's bad that a human got involved and nobody did anything about it.
So they know this. And so they're basically saying you're liable and you're complicit in these actions because and they want this is going to change everything because this one of the outcomes, they don't just want money, they want them to fundamentally change to become a company that snitches on their users, which now means they're responsible for all of these things.
Hmm.
So it
What
could be
I'm
really
trying to
bad.
think, I'm trying to think what the defense could possibly be on that. Um,
Well, the defense could be, we don't know the difference between fact and fiction. We don't know if someone's writing a book about a school shooting or actually committing a school shooting. We don't know and so, you know, but, okay, your AI believed and you believed that this was enough to ban his account. It was probably enough to call the police. But even if
yeah.
you did, they may not have done anything, but then it would have been the police's fault.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't sound good for them. That and then, like you said, bigger picture. I don't know, but and then not as important in the bigger picture of things, or the same. But then they ban your account for doing satirical comedy.
Right.
It
So
doesn't.
then
It doesn't make sense.
So then the outcome of that is I would have gotten a visit from the police because they would have thought that I was in danger in
Yeah.
sexualizing, endangering, and exploiting children, right? And so now I have to deal with the police because ChatGPT. So now, but then how many of those stories come out before everybody's like, I don't want ChatGPT. I don't want the cops coming to my door because they misunderstood some conversation I had with this AI. I asked it about
Mm,
some dream I had, and all of a sudden it's like I have a recurring
mm.
dream. It's so funny. I have this recurring dream, and it's been going on for a long time, where me and two specific friends, the same friends, one friend who's dead, and another friend who I
Wow.
don't even talk to anymore, who I know from like my teenage years and my early 20s. Me and these two friends killed somebody back then, and today we're dealing with the like, okay, we have to move this body, like in the mafia where it's like, oh, we buried a bunch of bodies but they're going to build houses, we all got to go move these bodies now. It's like that, but it's always the same two guys, and it's always like, it's eerie how weird it is because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, did we actually kill somebody? And I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't, but like,
Uh,
and then one day I asked Gemini about it, and then I'm like, okay, Gemini now thinks that I have this murder dream. When does it notify the police and say, hey, this guy might have killed someone?
What what
But it's just a
what did
dream.
Gemini out of interest? What how did that get interpreted?
If you ask AI about your dreams, 9 times out of 10, it's going to tell you that you're dealing with a life change, or you're fearing some type of part of yourself is being revealed. And so that it said, you're afraid of something that you do, or something in your personality being exposed, which doesn't make any sense at all, because I say my deepest, darkest shit on stage. Like, I say stuff on
Exactly.
stage
Yeah.
that would drive people, like, I say stuff that would drive people nuts. So, like, if I have a thought, I say it. So I don't
Yeah.
really
Me
have, like, I
too.
don't, almost don't have a filter. Like, if you put me on a stage, I don't have a filter. Like, the stuff that just, sometimes it's just like stuff coming out, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't put that back in the bottle. But like, that's how you find the funny stuff. So I don't hold back much from my personality, and
Yeah.
so to think that there's something that I'm hiding doesn't make any sense. But it's also a dream. Like, I've had this dream for over 15 years,
Really?
and then I have another
Wow.
one, which I had last night, which is, and this is also weird, but it's recurring my whole life, which is I'm either moving, or I'm going home from a trip, and I'm not only not packed, my stuff is scattered across rooms, and I can't find my suitcase, and it's like this, and it's always like, you were supposed to be on the plane 5 minutes ago, kind of thing. And it's this panic of, I'm not ready for this move, and it says, well, you're dealing with a big life change or something. Well, that doesn't make sense either. It's a recurring thing. But you have these conversations with AI about your dreams, and now it's like, well, he's having thoughts of murder, so I better tell the police. Like, so now it's like, what was that movie with Tom Cruise, Minority Report, where they come after you for your thoughts, right? Like,
It
that's
was on
what that
last
would
night.
lead to,
Yeah.
you
Mm.
know. So nobody wants that. So of course ChatGPT is going to fight this, because they don't want to be in a situation where they're required to report you to the police, and if they are, that's going to kill the whole thing. Like, nobody's going to want to use it. People will still use it, but then they're going to be very careful, and they're going to use it less, and they're probably not going to be willing to pay for it as much, because the idea that this thing could misunderstand me, and I could have the police at my door, and I could have to explain my conversations with AI to the police. It's no different than
Mm.
Google, right? Google, if I go on Google right now and I search for rope, bullets, duct tape, you know what I mean? And like, all the ingredients for a kidnapping, or all the ingredients for a murder, is it required to tell the police that that's what I'm doing? No. No different than, do I go if I go to a hardware store and buy all those things, are they required to notify the police? No. They can, but they're not required to. And
No.
just because you bought those things doesn't make you a guilty person, especially when you're a performer, right?
Mm.
And you could be like, I, I, if I have a conversation about a school shooting with AI, I could be trying to make jokes about it. I could be trying to write a story about it. I could be trying to do a sketch around this topic,
Mm.
and I'm asking it questions that may look like I'm planning one myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Like you said, they're definitely going to fight it. But then
Or they're going to have to
fundamentally,
settle.
yeah, and then you come back down to the basic of it. Why did, I still have a hard time in that a manager or whoever did not do anything with that. Like, if you can see the actual conversation this guy was having, surely you're going to know whether it's,
But lots of people have those conversations and never pick up a gun. Lots of people
yeah,
plan things and don't do them. There's a whole thing in therapy about, write a letter to the person you're mad at, but don't give it to them.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? There's all this stuff. So you're like, okay, well, at what point do we have to get involved as a tech company, because somebody's having these conversations with our AI? We don't know. Maybe these conversations are enough to fuel his, to spin out his energy and not have to do the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there are like hundreds of people having those thoughts, and only one out of every 300 or 500 people that has those thoughts actually takes action, or even considers the action, or has the ability to take the action. Because you got to have you got to have access to weapons. You have to have, like, I don't have a gun. I don't own a gun. I couldn't do a school shooting if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have to, I'd have to find all the, like, there's just too many variables, right? So even if I was talking to AI about it, do I have the ability? And do the police have the resources to go visit everybody who has a conversation?
Oh, there's your other thing, isn't it? Yeah, we know the answer to that. Yeah.
But it's a fun topic, because you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this could shape everything. This lawsuit could shape everything.
Well, then you're just going to get people developing their own LLMs for
Well, they're already
stuff.
doing it, right? They're already out
Yeah.
there. You know, you can set your own up that has no limits, no filters, no reporting. It's in its own box. You know,
Yeah.
$25,000 worth of Mac equipment, and you have your own LLM in house. I've thought about it, dude. I'm pretty close to pulling the trigger on one. Like, I've because I come up against a lot of limits. The one I've found recently to be the best is Claude for me, with the Claude, whatever we're calling it, where
Hmm.
it actually is pretty good about the fact that I write, you know, a bit of darker stuff. And I have a buddy who's still in the adult business, and he said he's never had a problem with Claude. Like, he uses it. He sells advertising on porn sites, and he has it, you know, dealing in genres and niches and all kinds of stuff. And he's never once had it say, "I can't help you with this."
No, well, I've said before, I really like Claude, and Gabby and I were doing some tests on some ideas she'd got without going into it, and it was like edgy stuff,
Hmm.
and it's never, and its output's been amazing compared.
Yeah.
She directly compared it with ChatGPT. There was no comparison. Claude is, yeah, out there. It is really good. Yeah, cool. All right, well, better get on. Let's wrap that up for this week. Be interesting to see if you do end up going with your own LLM. Have you looked
We'll
into
see.
exactly what's needed yet?
Yeah, yeah. You need a terabyte of RAM.
Holy fuck. Really?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, which is, there's a Mac Studio that will max out with a terabyte of RAM, and you need a ton of storage, SSD storage. It's which has gone up thanks to AI. Those prices have gone through the roof.
How
So
much
yeah,
is a
you're looking at,
terabyte of RAM costing?
well, it's about a $25,000 Mac,
All right.
fully outfitted
Wow.
with the latest CPUs, the latest graphics cards, and 4 terabyte, or one terabyte of RAM, and I think 10 terabytes of storage or something. I can't remember. I was looking at the specs, and it worked out. If you go to Apple and you go to configure it, it shows you like the max you can put in it, and it works out to be a $25,000 Mac Studio.
Wow.
So, and I could lease that here, you know, over 5 years or something, right? Or whatever, 4 years. So I was kind of looking at, okay, what would be the lease cost? Because I have this leasing company on my nuts, because I had one successful lease with them, and now they're like, oh, this company, you know, pays their thing, and hey, like every month they're like, you got anything you want to lease? You want to? They call me, they're like, you want to borrow
I
some money?
I remember seeing videos of the old setups you had with the old Mac stack that you used to have. That was epic back then.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Cool. Right,
All
guys.
right, buddy.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Cheers, mate. We'll
All
be
right.
back next week as usual. All being well. Catch you later. Catch you next week.
See ya.